talk about cancers, obesity, or our lifestyle and cancers. Cancer is a big problem among us as people of African origin. And I want to take you through a few of them. This slide here shows the rates of prostate cancers. And I know it's a lot of lines, but I want us to take our time and go through it. The red line, anytime you see red, that's for people of African origin. And the yellow is for Caucasians. Now, if you look at this, this is the rate of prostate cancers. The line, the lower the line, it tells us that fewer people are getting prostate cancer. And the fewer people is in 100,000, which is on the far left. So out of 100,000, in 1999, you had just about over 160 people getting prostate cancer if they were Caucasian. If they were people of African origin, in 1999, you had about 250. So back then, for every 160, an additional 90 people will be getting prostate cancer. Even if you fast forward, the number, it doesn't even get better. You fast forward to 2011. 2011, the rate of prostate cancer has come down. But look at, for every 100 out of 100,000, we're talking about 130 people getting prostate cancer if they are Caucasian. But then you go up to the red line, which is for people of African origin, and about close to 200 people are getting prostate cancer if they are people of African origin. That is huge. That is huge. But the story gets even more sad when you look at the death associated with prostate cancer. Prostate cancer kills black people of African origin way out disproportionately more than Caucasians or any other race. Again, look at the distance between the death rate for all the races and then the death rate for prostate cancer for people of African origin. This is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. So out of every 100,000, you get about 25 people dying if they are Caucasians. For that same number, you are getting close to 50 people dying if they are black or people of African origin. That is startling. Why? The reason being that we are getting more advanced prostate cancer. And then you will soon find out that prostate cancer has more to do with the kind of food you eat more than anything else. And your weight more than anything else. Now, the story is even going to get even more sad. Let's look at breast cancer. Again, the yellow line is for Caucasians. The red line is for people of African origin. The other line, say, the blue line is for Asian Americans. And then the purple line is for Hispanics. But I want to focus just on the red line, which is the people of African origin, and then the yellow line, which is for Caucasians. Now, back in 1999, breast cancer was actually a disease for Caucasian women. But you fast forward into 2011, and then all of a sudden, breast cancer is a disease of Caucasian women and women of African origin at the same rate. And you're asking yourself, what has changed? Has our genetics changed? No. It is our weight and our bad eating habits and the lack of physical activity that has changed. But then this is the rate of breast cancers. The story gets even more sad when you look at the death of breast cancer, death coming in from breast cancer. Take a look again. In 1999, and this is take a look at it, since 1999 up until now, the death rate for breast cancer among women of African origin and Caucasian has always been extremely high. A disease that affects women of African origin and Caucasians at the same rate kills twice as many, almost twice as many people of African origin compared to Caucasians. And that is very sad. And you ask yourself, why are African women or women of African origin dying so much from breast cancer? Again, we are getting very advanced stage disease. We are getting the diseases at the stage 3, stage 4. They come in and it's already metastasized. You cannot do anything about it. So by the time they show up to the hospital or they show up to the clinic, to the time they actually die, there's a very short time. And again, breast cancers has to do with our weight and our eating pattern as well as the lack of physical activity. Now, cancer poses a great misconception among people of African origin. If you ask the average African person, they are thinking cancer is probably genetic. It's in my blood, I cannot do anything about it. It's mainly genetic. Another person says cancer is in my family, I can't do anything about it. The other person says cancer is probably a curse from God, or a way of God punishing sinners, or a way God is punishing you for a certain sin you've committed. I know this because I've heard it so many times. Another group of people will say cancer is a disease that is brought upon us by the witches and wizards in Africa. But nothing I have said here, nothing listed here is accurate. Everything is wrong. Cancer is not mainly genetic. Cancer is not mainly in the family. Cancer is not a curse or punishment from God. Cancer is not a spell cast on us by witches or wizards. They don't have any idea of the physiology or the metabolic mechanism involved in developing cancers. So they cannot bring cancers. Cancer is all a disease of lifestyle, and I'm about to show it to you. Again, let's take a look at this graph. We have three graphs here, A, B, and C. The A tells us causes of cancers in America, and this is from the National Library of Medicine, and which is an affiliate of the National Institute of Health from the year 2008. And the first chart, which is the first circle, we call it A, B, and C. This is cancers of all causes of cancers in America in that year. And they are saying, and this chart is so important, this slide here is very important. They are saying that for all the types of cancers that we experience, it is only 5 to 10% of them that are genetic. That means they are genetic, it's in your genes, you cannot do anything about it. Just 5 to 10%. A good 90 to 95% of it is environmental. If it is environmental, that means you can prevent it. And this information here defies everything people know about cancers, because everybody thinks cancer is this mysterious disease that you get and you don't have, there's no way out. No. Cancer is just a minutely genetic. But then for the majority, the huge majority of cancers is based on lifestyle or environmental changes, which you can change. That's the good news. Now, look at the second part, the second chart, which is the B. This tells you the genetic component. So the part that is genetic, it actually tells you how much of it relates to specific cancers. And because of time and also importance, I'm going to talk about just 3 types of cancers, which happens to be the most common cancers. Now, breast cancer happens to be the #1 cancer in women, the #2 killer cancer in women. Breast cancer, my brothers and sisters, is only 1.8% genetic, or just about 2% genetic. In other words, 98% of the time, breast cancer can be prevented if you do certain things, which I'm about to show you. Let's look at prostate cancer. Prostate cancer, again, is the #1 cancer in men, the #2 cancer killer in men. Prostate cancer, when it comes to genes, it is just 2.2%. Again, meaning about 97.8% of the time, prostate cancer is preventable. That is good news. Prostate cancer is not mystery. If you do certain things right, you should not get prostate cancer, and the data, the hard data, is there to support it. Let's look at colorectal cancer. Colorectal cancer is the #3 cancer in men and women at the same time, and also the #3 cancer killer in men and women at the same time. Colorectal cancer affects it's only 2.5% genetic. That means, again, 97.5% of the time, 97.5% of the time, colorectal cancer or colon cancer is preventable. That is humongous. That is great news. Now, what are we preventing? What are the environmental causes? What are the things that we can do? And that is where the C chart shows. The C chart is telling us, and the minute you talk about cancer, everybody's thinking smoking. No, smoking is the #1 cause of cancer in America. No, it's not. According to this chart, diet is the #1 cause of cancers in America. Diet. Diet contributes 30 to 35% of all cancers. Smoking comes in at #2 for 25 to 30%. And then look at obesity. Just being overweight puts you up at about 20% risk for cancers. And again, things like alcohol, 4 to 6%. Infections, about 15 to 20%. Now, for a race or a group of people, not a race, but a group of people of African origin, who do not predominantly smoke, we should be able to cut down our risk for prostate, for all types of cancers, by a good 20 to 30, 25% to 30%, 25% to 30%. So why are we getting all these cancers that I already showed you, and why is it killing us so much? It's because diet, the kind of stuff we are putting in our mouth, are all poisonous, and it is bringing us all these cancers. Not only diet, but then look at obesity. Because we are eating so much, and our diet does not consist of fruits and vegetables, too much carbs, too much oils, and too much poisons, which I will show you. Because of that, if you add that to our weight, you put yourself about 50 to 60% risk of coming up with cancers. And I'm telling you right now, or I just want to make it clear to you right now, that the types of food you eat brings up all these high-risk cancers. Because we are consuming so much poisons which augment our cells or changes our cells so radically, you get a cancer that cannot be cured. Again, it goes on to tell you that we as women of African origin, or men and women of African origin, we are getting really weird diseases, and it all comes down to our diet, lack of physical activity, and the weight that we keep piling up.